Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mugam karoti vachalam pangam lanke mitkarpadam aham mande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome all of you for our weekly study of Sri Bhagavad Gita. So we are in the second chapter and verse number 50, was it 56 we completed or 57 we completed, I believe?
57 probably.
57 we did, right? 58 is what
Yeah.
we have.
Right.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Correct. So 56 and 57 is the response of Siddha Prajna to the dualities. So you remember the questions asked by Arjuna, Kabasha, what are the general symptoms of a Siddha Prajna? Siddha Prajna means a devotee. And second question was that Kim Prapasheta, how does he speak? That means how does he respond when he receives any praise or blame or affection or hate, how he will behave externally and how he will feel internally. That is the meaning of Kim Prabhasheta. Now, Kim Asita, how does he sit? This is the third question. That means, how does he restrain his senses from the sense objects? Kim Vrajeta, how does he walk? How does he that means, how does he respond to the sense objects? So there is subtle difference between question 3 and question 4, Q3 and Q4. One is how he will restrain his senses from the sense objects, Indriya and Indriya Vastu. How he will restrain or how will he control. Kim Vrajeta means how does he walk, means how he will respond, what will be his response to the sense objects. Not restraining, this is response. This is a small difference. Now, these were the four questions, Q1, 2, 3, 4. Question 1, 2, 3, 4. Krishna answers the first question, the symptoms of Siddha Prajna, in the 55th verse. In the 56th and 57th verse, he is answering to the question of second number question, which is how does he speak or how does he receive praise or blame or affection or hate, how he is speaking internally, externally. So basically, the speech. How does he respond to the duality? So we have seen Dukkeshu Anudvigna Manaha, Sukheshu Vigataspraha. He is undisturbed in the mind amidst of all the threefold miseries. And Sukheshu Vigataspraha, he is not elated when there is happiness. Vidaraga Bhaya Krodha, and he is free from the attachment, fear and anger. Siddhadir Muni Ruchade. This is the symptoms of Siddhadir Muni or Siddha Prajna. Now, in the next verse he says, Ya Sarvatrabi Snehas, means he is unaffected everywhere in the world. Tat Tat Prapya Shubha Shubham. By whatever good and evil he may obtain. Nami Nantanti na dveshti, neither praising nor criticizing. Tasya Prajna Pradishtita. Such a person is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So that was the answer for the second question. Now, how does he sit? That's the third question. Answer or the meaning of that question is how does he restrain his senses from the sense objects? Now, Krishna is going to give answer for this particular question from verse number 58 to 63. So, few verses, 5 verses. Let me just share the screen and begin our discussion. Yes. Yada samharade chayam kurmo nagniva sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. Please recite.
Hare Krishna, Raju Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhu, you would like to
Yada
recite?
Yada samharate chayam kurmo nigeshva sarvasha indriyanadis vyas tasya prajna pratishtita. Hare Krishna.
Please read the translation.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So this is the withdrawal of senses. So Krishna is speaking that Siddha Prajna, how he is going to respond or how he is going to restrain his senses from the sense objects, just like a tortoise. So what does tortoise does? What does tortoise do? Yada samharde chayam, one who is able to withdraw, kurmo nagniva sarvashaha, just like a tortoise draws its limbs within the shell. Indriyarthebhyas, his senses from the sense objects. So one who is able to withdraw, just as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, who and his senses, whose senses, the one person who is doing this, his senses from the sense objects, tasya prajna pradishtita, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. His consciousness is pure. That's what Krishna is saying. So basically, Krishna is saying that just like a tortoise withdrawing the senses from the sense objects, we should do like that. We should withdraw our senses from the sense objects. Prabhupada gives a beautiful purport. Let's read. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The test of a yogi or a devotee or self-realized soul, all same in this context, is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and thus directed by the dictation of the senses. That is the answer to the question as to how the yogi is situated. So very important point Prabhupada says, for a yogi or a devotee or a self-realized soul, the ability to control the senses is very important. Or he or she should be able to control the senses according to his plan. Like if we want to control our senses, we should be able to do it. But Prabhupada mentions that, but most people are failing in this. They are not becoming the master of the senses. Master of the senses means master can control the subjects, correct? King can control the subjects. So we have to control the senses. Instead of that, we become the servants of the senses. Like whatever the senses saying, we are accepting that. We are becoming the servants of the senses. This is the case what is happening to most of us. We are directed by the dictation of the senses. Now my sense will say, my hand will say, oh no, maybe my tongue will say, let me eat this sweet gulab jamun or whatever. Actually it's not required. Maybe that's not required during that time. But my sense will give an urge. Please take that. And our hand will follow what our tongue and mind says, because tongue will feel that kind of attraction to the gulab jamun. Tongue is the sense and gulab jamun is the sense object. Yeah, I hope you are able to connect what I am saying. So here Krishna is saying that we have to withdraw the senses from the sense objects. So let us take the example of gulab jamun. So our sense, one of the sense is tongue. So sense object is gulab jamun. So the sense is attracting to the with the sense object, getting attracted to the sense object, and that is being fulfilled by the mind. So thoughts, that this thinking process is happening in the mind. So mind is always, mind has a function of, he is always with the senses, other senses. So without mind, nothing will happen. Mind is the main storehouse of all the all the impressions, all the desires. So mind is actually helping the other senses to perform their activity. So now tongue wanted that gulab jamun, and mind is giving, of course, it's that feeling is coming in the mind. Now tongue is feeling that let me taste this. Okay, and now mind is helping the sense, or telling the sense, like hand. Hand is another sense, like one of our sense. Hand is like karmendriya. So the working senses we call in Shastras. So hand is one of the working senses. With the hand, we are now going to take that gulab jamun. So see, the karma, so there are two senses now functioning, tongue and hand. One is knowledge acquiring, tongue is knowledge acquiring sense, and which comes as jnanendriya, and but the hand is karmendriya, working sense. Both the senses are active now, and mind is actually directing these two. Mind is the director of this whole episode, and the sense object is gulab jamun there. So we are now trying to take that with that sense. We are going, and our hand is going and taking it, and our tongue wants to taste. We will taste. Happy. This is what is happening now. Krishna is saying that we should withdraw. We should pull our senses like tortoise from sense objects unnecessarily. We should not let our senses go in its own way, because senses will go in different directions. We are just speaking about gulab jamun. We are getting attracted to many things of this world, not only gulab jamun. Gulab jamun is a simple example for all of us. If, see, any sense gratification of this world, if we are indulging it more and more, we will be in trouble. Take the example of same gulab jamun. So we may say, oh, what is the problem in eating one gulab jamun? No problem. Okay, you eat one gulab jamun, you stop with that. Or take two, what is the problem in taking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Okay. If you want to take, you take. What will happen? Maybe sometimes we will get some sickness. Eventually we will be diabetic. If you are doing that for for many months or years, we will be diabetic. Generally, I am giving an example. So that sense pleasure, which we thought that will help, I will be able to enjoy, that will become a misery in the future. So this is the nature of all material sense gratification of this world, dear devotees. Any sense gratification. If you are trying to gratify our senses like this, unnecessarily, unrestrictedly, it will become a misery for sure. Similarly, our sense organs like sex life also. Unrestrictedly, if we are using it, that will create some problems in the future. You take any sense of our body. So Krishna is saying here, Sthita Prajna, or a devotee or a yogi, what he will do? He will withdraw the senses from the sense object. Only use the senses when it is required, not unrestrictedly leaving it like that. So this is a very important point Prabhupada says. So generally people are becoming the servant of the senses by the dictation of the senses. This is not good. Prabhupada says that is the answer to the question how the yogi is situated. So yogi will control, yogi will withdraw the senses. Yes, there will be some temptations, but we have to really withdraw it. There will be temptation, no doubt, but we should withdraw. Initially it's like a pain for us, how to withdraw. It's very difficult to control, but when we practice it, you will be able to do it. Now Prabhupada gives a beautiful example. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely without restriction. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the senses like a snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently. See, senses are compared to venomous serpents. Serpents are very dangerous, right? And if you are not careful, the serpent will bite, whatever, So yogi or a devotee, he should be very strong in controlling the serpents, or in the sense controlling the senses. Should be able to control it. A devotee should control or will control. Like a snake charmer. Have you seen snake charmer back home in India? Snake charmer is able to control the snake. When he is blowing that whatever instrument he has, the snake will dance. snake is completely subdued by the snake charmer. Similarly, we as devotees, we should be able to control our serpent-like, venomous serpent-like senses. Otherwise, what will happen? It will act according to the senses will, and that will be a problem. He never, that's what, the snake charmer will never allows them to act independently. So there are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures that some of them are do nots, and some of them are do's. Okay, so basically do's and don'ts. Unless one is able to follow the do's and don'ts, restricting oneself from the sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. This is the most important point. So we may be thinking that I want to become a devotee. Everybody is desiring that I want to become a devotee. Okay, it's a good desire. We should have desire. So there are some things we have to follow also. We cannot just become a devotee. Tomorrow we will become a pure devotee. That will never happen. It's a gradual process. So there are some do's and don'ts. So the do as per scriptures. We are not talking anything beyond or apart from the scriptures. Everything is given in the scriptures. What to be done, what not to be done. So Bhagavad Gita is giving instruction now. Krishna is giving instruction. We should control our senses. Means we have to control. This is the thing which we have to do. And if we are unrestrictedly, leaving the senses like that, we will not be able to get Krishna consciousness, or we will not become pure devotees. So do's and don'ts we need to follow. And we will find the do's and don'ts from Shastras, like Bhagavad Gita. So unless we do not follow these do's and don'ts, what will happen? It will not be possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. We will not become pure devotees. Even though we desire, but it will not work just like that. So do's and don'ts needs to be followed. He gives a good example here. Best example is his tortoise. So tortoise can at any moment wind up its senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purpose. Correct? Have you seen tortoise? Tortoise, if there is any danger, it will withdraw the senses into his body. So, but at any time, tortoise can, bring the senses back also. So, tortoise uses his intelligence when it is required, when it is not required. Similarly, Prabhupada says, the senses of a Krishna conscious person or a practicing devotee like all of us are used only for some particular purpose in the service of Lord and withdrawn otherwise. Okay, this is speaking about Krishna conscious person or a pure devotee. A pure devotee will only use their senses in the service of Krishna. Otherwise, withdraw. Any temptation comes, no worries, no problem. I'm not tempting, I'm not going to indulge that. So now Arjuna is being taught here to use his senses for the service of the Lord. So Krishna is telling that Arjuna, you are completely confused. I am telling you what to be done, what not to be done. He is giving complete instruction, correct? So Arjuna is being taught how to use his senses for the service of the Lord instead of his own satisfaction. Keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy tortoise who keep the senses within. So keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord means engaging our senses in the service of the Lord is the best way of controlling the senses, and which is now given as an analogy of a tortoise. This is very important point for all of us. The senses of a Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose, otherwise for particular purpose in the service of the Lord, otherwise it shall be withdrawn. So for a practicing devotee also, we are not pure devotees yet, but we are practicing devotees. See, so practicing devotee, as we all of us, we should also try to withdraw the senses if it is not required. To be, for example, there are so many temptations in this world. A person who wants to, for example, he was indulging in alcohol or smoking, just giving an example, crude example. when he associate with people who are doing that, naturally we will imbibe that qualities. So bad quality or good quality is always like that. If you are associating with devotees, we will get good qualities. If you are associating with a smoker and drinker or a drunkard, we will be getting that qualities, right? So it's like that. So once we get the quality, just giving an example of a drunkard or not, we are not saying a drunkard or always drinking, or whoever is drinking little bit, whatever, or eating something not good, eating meat and all. So it's not as per the scripture says that we should not do all this. We should not intoxicate. We should not intoxication kind in any means, like drinking alcohol or smoking cigarettes, whatever it is, pan masala or whatever it is. And secondly, it is intoxication. Yeah. So one example. So he or yeah, if once who has tasted this thing, but he is thinking now I want to somehow come out of this. I want to get rid of this thing because I know that it is a very big mistake I'm doing. It's a sin. I will get reaction. I don't want to get any reactions anymore. So I want to withdraw from this habit. So initially he will be feeling some, will not be comfortable to withdraw it. It's not easy initially, but the senses will say, no, at least today, one more day you can drink, no problem. Or one more day you can smoke. Just giving an example. This one day. After that you can stop. You'll stop. Our mind will give so many justifications like that. But if we are going behind the mind's direction, we will be in trouble. But at once we have to think, yes, Shastra says, I've been hearing this for a long time. Shastra says not good, or we should not do this. It's a sin. We have to go through the reaction. So I want to withdraw it. So somehow we are controlling our senses. Not to, first of all, we will not go to such atmosphere also. In the sense, we will not be having association with such people who are indulging in that. We will try to control our senses. Even if we are with them, for example, a smoker is smoking a cigarette, we are passing by, we will get the smoke smell, cigarette smell. A person who is a chain smoker, he will be naturally attracted to that smell. See the attractions. A devotee, when he gets the smell of the flower or garland offered to Krishna, naturally he will get attracted to Krishna by smelling that flower or garland or tulsi. But a smoker, he will get attracted to this smoke, smell of the smoke. So two different contrasts. Human beings, we are talking about only human beings. Different thought process, different likings, different moods, different modes, everything is right. So we can see. So Krishna is telling all of us, if we really want to be a devotee, if we want to be a pure devotee, then we should control our senses. Wherever senses needs to be withdrawn, we should withdraw, like a tortoise. And we can use our senses in the service of Krishna. We can use hands in doing so many services to Krishna. We can use our tongue in speaking about Krishna. Why we have to speak some gossip or criticism or any politics with this tongue? We can use this tongue for glorifying Krishna, Krishna's Nama Rupa Guna Lila. We can use this tongue for chanting Krishna's names, holy names. We can use this tongue for eating prasadam also. We don't have to eat non-vegetarian food with this tongue. So we can use in both the ways. Like we can either misuse it, or we can use it in a proper way. So Prabhupada says in the purport that Krishna also says in the sloka that like a tortoise we should withdraw. Whenever is required we can use it, but use in the service of Krishna. Use in something connected to Krishna. Otherwise we will be in trouble. That's the point. That's the whole point of discussion. Now coming to the next verse 59. Very beautiful and famous verse. Vishaya vinivartande niraharasya dehina rasa varjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. This is giving a hope for all of us. Yeah, please recite.
Hare Krishna, Ramesh Prabhu. Ramesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Anyone else would like to recite?
Vidya Mataji, please recite.
प्रभु विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते.
Thank you.
Translation.
Translation.
हरे बोल माता जी. सुरेश प्रभु हरे कृष्णा.
Hare Krishna. Hare
प्रभु
Prabhu.
translation please.
Though the
Hare.
embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But but uh, but ceasing such an engagement by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in a consciousness.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Nice, beautiful verse. See, here it says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Vishaya means the sense objects. Okay. Though the soul, embodied soul means all of us basically. Embodied soul means person, we are souls, but we have a body, correct? Embodied means having a body. So our soul, not our soul, we are soul basically. That is what we have studied in Bhagavad Gita in the previous section. And we are souls, but we are covered by a body. So that is why it is called as embodied soul. Embodied soul means all of us. Though the embodied soul may practice to restrict the senses from enjoying the sense object, means we are now, we are trying our best to withdraw our senses from enjoyment of from the sense object. It is said that rasavarjam rasopyasya, the taste for the sense object still remains. So means, like we were talking about before, the example of drinking, right? So initially we will be trying our best to somehow withdraw. I don't want to do this, but still the taste of enjoying that kick or whatever, it will be there in our mind always, because we have already experienced it. So we have some taste for that always. I mean, it's there in our mind, but we are trying our best to not to do that. Somehow we are trying our senses. No, I will not go to my friends, those who are drinking or smoking, and I'm trying to withdraw my senses. So take the example of, we can take the example, any example by the way, gulab jamun or smoking or whatever. So the taste is still remaining in the heart or in the mind, we can say. The desire for enjoyment for or taste for sense objects are still remaining. That is the meaning of rasavarjam rasopyasya. But the hope is that param drishtva nivartade. Krishna says that, but if one can, or if one has tasted something higher, they can cease this lower taste. Param drishtva nivartade means, but one can cease or stop from that, from whatever attraction we have for sense objects, by experiencing a higher taste. I hope you understand what Krishna says. So the meaning is that Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya means the embodied soul, like all of us, we are trying to practice our best to restrict the senses from the sense objects. Though that taste still remains in us, rasavarjam rasopyasa, the taste is still remaining in us, in the sense some kind of attraction is there in the mind, but param drishtva nivartade, but one can stop that temptation. How? By experiencing a higher taste. So if we have a higher taste, if we have higher taste means if we have experienced some higher taste or spiritual taste, having some taste in spirituality, by starting by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or by hearing about Krishna, somehow whatever those higher things, when we start getting the taste, naturally the lower taste like the sense gratification will go away. That is the only way. So what we should cultivate? We should cultivate the higher taste. then the lower taste will go. Sense gratification is completely lower taste. The more we hear about Krishna, the more we read, more we chant, read scriptures, or more we chant, our taste in Krishna consciousness will increase. So we'll get that higher taste. We will always hanker, oh, when will next Saturday come? I don't think none of you are thinking like that. Somehow you will be thinking like, I want to get out of this. This Prabhu comes and gives so many advices or whatever. I am not giving advices here. I am just trying to repeat the words of Krishna and Prabhupada. I am not doing anything. I am just doing the job of a postman. So don't think that I am somebody, a great sadhu or a great Goswami who is completely controlling the senses. I am also struggling with, like all of us. All of us are in the same boat. I am also part of the problem. I am not the part of the solution. But we have solution in the scriptures. We have solution given by Krishna. We have solution given by Prabhupada. So we are trying to read and understand and trying to imbibe that, follow that. So once one who have tasted Harikatha, one who have tasted scriptures, one who has tasted the chanting, they will hanker for it. So naturally the thoughts for sense gratification will go away. We will be not thinking like, okay, next Saturday or Friday evening, if we have a satsang. Generally, I used to go for movies. We may think, oh, some new movies are releasing on Friday, I think. I don't know whether here, in India, maybe that what I remember, I don't remember actually. But I believe some weekend this movie gets released. So people are going for it, or weekend going out for it, eating something from outside or whatever. We have two options now. Either go for a movie or go for a satsang. So here Bhagavad Katha, Hari Katha is going on. Here, material, mundane Katha is going on in some movies. What is your choice? So if we have tasted Hari Katha, then we will not be going for that lower taste, which is mundane, these movies and all fiction, all imaginations, or they are acting. Nobody is for. Maybe somebody will be behaving like a sadhu in the movie. Well, he is not a sadhu. He might be actually a sadhu in his life. So when we are thinking that we are getting infatuated by that and become a follower, what not? We have great personalities to follow in the scriptures. We have Parikshit Maharaj, we have Prahlad Maharaj, we have Dhruva Maharaj, we have so many devotees. We have Prabhupada. So Arjuna is there. All of them are great devotees. So there are great personalities whom we can follow. So the point is that Krishna says here, if we start getting the higher taste, then the lower taste will subdue. Automatically going away from us. So we have to, as a practicing devotee, sadhaka, we have to cultivate this higher taste. That can be only done by being in the association of devotees. So we should not restrict to Saturday only, to just 1 hour. We should be trying to interact with devotees more and more frequently. Ask questions, discuss about Krishna, read something, hear something. Or if we are not having a devotee association, or every day we are not able to meet devotees, no problem. At least we have Shastras, we have book, we have Bhagavad Gita in our home. If we don't have, we can get a copy. Or Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, whatever. If we don't have, we can have in the phone also. Veda base, if you go to that website, we will get Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, everything is there. So we can read. So we can use our time for such activities. Then higher taste will come in our life. Then the lower taste will go away. This is the only way. That's what Krishna is saying here. Okay. Now, let me just go through the purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, what he says. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. So means, unless we have a higher taste, it is not possible to stop the sense enjoyment, lower taste, whatever. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, this sense restriction by some spiritual progress like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, etc. is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. So, Prabhupada is saying few points. He is saying that the process of restriction of sense enjoyment by the do's and don'ts means or rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. Like we know, if we are a diseased person, if we are having diabetes, diabetic person, he cannot eat unrestrictedly the sweets, correct? So we are restricted from certain types of eatables if you are diabetic. But does he is not, he cannot eat, but he will have some desire to eat, correct? A desire will be there. That is what Prabhupada is saying, that the desire will be there to eat such, even he is trying to restrict his senses. I will not do, I will not touch, I will not take gulab jamun during the satsang, you know. When we eat prasadam, I'm following a diet, but the desire will be there, but we are somehow restricting. So patient, however, neither likes such restrictions, right, and nor loses his taste. Taste will be already there, you know. He wanted to enjoy, but he is trying to restrict. So Prabhupada mentions that this Ashtanga Yoga and different kinds of yoga process, like these are the external. This is if this yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, doesn't include proper focus or, you know, concentration on the Supreme Lord, then it will just become an exercise. Just have you seen that exercises, we call it as yoga. Different people are following different yogis, and they are doing so many different bodily yogic practices. We are astonished by seeing all of that, and we are following also. It's good for the maintenance of the body, but there is no connection with, if there is no connection with spirituality, then that is simply a bodily exercise, nothing more. So Ashtanga Yoga and other processes, if it is not connected to Krishna, then it is not a recommended process. So Prabhupada mentioned that restriction by, this Ashtanga Yoga also can be Ashtanga Yoga also, if it is connected to Krishna, it becomes a spiritual process, no doubt. But it has lot of do's and don'ts and so many things like asana means we should have a proper sitting posture. Pranayama, we should control the breath by different ways. And pratyahara means externally we are trying to control our senses. Dharana means we are trying to focus, concentrate on the Paramatma, so many things. So like that. So there are it's an authorized process, Ashtanga Yoga, proper if it is properly done. But it is like so much trouble is there in that. So much conditions are required to be followed. And that also is not giving us the ultimate result, because what is happening is that we may lose the control of senses if we are not properly situated. It is easy, because in this process mostly the control of senses is external, in an external way. We are somehow restricting the senses. We are not engaging our senses in the proper way. We are trying to restrict the senses. So in that case, what happens is that because of the past impressions, the senses will trick us. Because mind will have some kind of impressions, because we would have tasted it before. So mind will give some indications. Taste, try for it. Okay, you do some yogic process. Maybe Ashtanga Yogi will be practicing a yogic process and controlling the senses for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And then what happens? If some temptation comes, gone. It may go. We may lose the control. Why? Because Ashtanga Yogi is trying to artificially, or we can say mechanically, control the senses. If he is not completely absorbed in Krishna, He can use the Ashtanga Yoga in complete samadhi. He can use it if we are using it properly. But most of the times what happens is Ashtanga Yoga becomes just an external process. So what will happen? The senses will go in their way and we will again go back to the square. However, Prabhupada mentions further, however, for a devotee, what he will do here, Prabhupada says, but one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness, no longer has a taste for dead material things. So one who has experienced Krishna, the sweetness of bhakti or the beauty of Krishna or Krishna's nama, rupa, guna, lila, whatever, anything connected to Krishna, if we have some taste, if we have developed some taste in that, then we will not be hankering for dead materials. Dead material means all the material things, basically. So therefore, restrictions are there for less intelligent neophytes. Neophytes means the beginners in the spiritual life. So the restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life, but restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. So without having some taste in Krishna consciousness, the restrictions will be troublesome. It will not be helping. So Prabhupada says, when one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. For pale things means for these material things, attractions will go away if we are actually tasting bhakti or Krishna consciousness. So that's the point. So if we become a devotee, what will happen? We will not try to artificially control our senses. We will try to use our senses in the service of Krishna. If we have a tendency of speaking, so much speaking, if we have some tendency, let us use that tendency of speech in speaking about Krishna. If we have if we have a skill of singing, let us use that ability in the service of Krishna. So similarly, if we have a nice ability in cooking, let us use that in the service of Krishna. We can prepare nice food, bhoga, and offer it to Krishna, then we can have prasadam. So like that, we can use our senses in the service of Krishna. If we are artificially trying to control it by some means, it will go astray any time. And also the point is that we can if we have that higher taste already, if we have tasted something higher, then we will be able to reject all the lower taste. It's very easy, it's not very difficult. So I think 10:5. Okay, one more verse we can take. Mm-hmm. 60. Yatato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipasthitah indriyani paramatini haranti prasabam manaha. So all these sections basically are the answers to the third question, how the Sthita Prajna controls or restrain his senses from sense objects. Okay, please recite.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yatato yapi kaudeya purushasya vipashchitaha indriyani pramatini haranti prasabam manaha. Hare Krishna.
Translation, someone.
Hare Krishna. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Krishna is saying now, Yadado hi api kaunteya, O Arjuna, although endeavoring to control the senses, purushasya vipaschita, even for a man of full discrimination, indriyani pramatini, the senses are so strong and impetus, haranti prasabam mana, they forcibly carry away the mind. So, very important sloka. Even a wise person, even a man of having full discrimination, means an intelligent person can be distracted by the senses if we are not careful. I will repeat once again. Even a wise man, intelligent man means one who knows what is to be done, what not to be done. One who is knowing that what is do's and don'ts. But still, he or she can be distracted by the senses if we are not careful. And that is why Krishna is emphasizing by saying that in this verse that it is not easy to become a Siddha Prajna just like that. It is not easy to become a devotee. The rarity of a pure devotee is being mentioned here, or Siddha Prajna is being mentioned by Krishna. It's not as we think, because even if we know the things, you know what to do, what not to do, but still our senses will maybe trick us. Senses will take us, and we will be forcibly carry away the mind, even for a man of discrimination. And he will be trying to endeavor it, completely trying to control it, but it may go. It can go. Not necessary, but there is a chance. That's what Prabhupada says. There are many learned sages, philosophers and transcendentalists who try to control the senses, but in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material sense enjoyment due to agitated mind. Prabhupada says that there were many learned sages, philosophers in the past who tried to control the senses with their endeavors, but many have failed also, fall victim to sense enjoyment because of the desires in the mind, agitated mind. He gives an example of Vishwamitra Muni. Even Vishwamitra Muni, great sage and perfect yogi, was misled by Menaka into sex enjoyment, although the yogi was endeavoring the sense control with severe types of penance and yoga practice. So, Vishwamitra Muni is not an ordinary person, he is a great soul. Please don't misunderstand him here. He is giving as an example is being mentioned. Vishwamitra Muni is a great sage, no doubt. He is a perfect yogi. He has done this Ashtanga Yoga and he is an expert Ashtanga yogi. But he also, his senses also was, also went out of control when he was doing meditation, when he heard the ankle bell sound of Menaka, who was a heavenly damsel, heavenly devata, or we can say heavenly lady. By hearing that sound of the ankle bells itself, his senses got agitated. So what to speak of normal people like us, if we are trying to practice Ashtanga Yoga, if the case of this Vishwamitra Muni is such a great person and perfect yogi, whose name is in the Shastra, is a great soul. See, we should not say the thing that Vishwamitra Muni is an ordinary person. He's such a great person. He was actually a spiritual guide for even Lord Rama and Lakshmana when they were here, when they did the pastime. So Vishwamitra Muni is not an ordinary person. Definitely is a great soul. He's a devotee. He's a great devotee, no doubt. But giving this Vishwamitra Muni and these devotees are playing the part of such engaging in these pastimes and showing us that what is even a person who is even becoming a great sage or perfect yogi can lose the control of the senses. So Vishwamitra Muni is teaching us this example. Teaching us this lesson for all of us. So we cannot imagine what will be our situation, right? So we are nowhere. So Prabhupada says that, of course, there are so many similar instances in the history. There are many instances like that. So therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna conscious. So Vishwamitra Muni is a great yogi, but we cannot compare him to be a pure devotee. Of course, he is a great devotee. I am saying he is a great devotee. But when we compare him with pure devotees, there are many pure devotees like Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruva Maharaj or Amrish Maharaj or Parishit Maharaj or Haridas Thakur or anybody. So pure devotees at that level is little different. They are higher. Because he was basically an Ashtanga yogi. So Prabhupada says that it is very difficult to control the senses and the mind without being fully Krishna conscious. So this is an important point. Without being fully Krishna conscious, we cannot control the mind. So without engaging the mind in the Krishna, one cannot cease, one cannot stop such material engagement. So we have to engage our mind in the service of Krishna. We have to think about Krishna, hear about Krishna. That's how we engage our senses. Without that, our senses will give us so many options. Do that, do this, do that, do that. So that's what, that solution is that engaging in Krishna's service. Engaging mind and senses in the service of Krishna, then we will be able to control the senses. And he is giving an example here, Sri Yamunacharya. He is a great saint and a devotee. He has given this verse. He says this verse. Yeddavadi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde nava rasadhamani udyatam rantumasit tat avadhi batanari sangame smaryamane bhavandi mukhavikara sushtu nishtivanam cha. So he says, since my mind has been engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet of the Krishna, I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor. So he is saying that I am completely, my mind is absorbed in Krishna, absorbed in the service of the Krishna, of the lotus feet of Krishna, and I am enjoying, I am in that mood. In that transcendental humor means I am always enjoying in that rasa, transcendental or spiritual rasa with Krishna. Whenever, then if he is getting a thought, whenever I think of a sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. He is saying that I will, if any thoughts are coming like that, I will spit at the thought. Because means he will just neglect that thought. So this is a lakshana of a pure devotee. Because see, even if we become a pure devotee, as long as we are in this material world, we may get some temptations. May get or may not get. So the greatness of a devotee is how he will respond to the senses. We have already discussed the prajna's qualities. So thoughts might come, may come or may not come. Even for a devotee who is practicing for 50 years, the sense gratification thoughts will come. But if we are acting on it, then it's a problem. If we are not acting, if we are just like Sri Yamunacharya, if we are just neglecting it and not acting on it, we are saved. If we are acting on it, then we are in trouble. So it's not that thought will not come. Maybe thought will come, or some provoking situation will come, or scene will come in front of us without our intention also. We may not be wanting it, but it may come because the world is like that. But we should immediately withdraw the senses from sense objects like a tortoise. If we don't do it, if we try to act on it, if we start contemplating on it, when we start contemplating, then what will happen? Contemplation will lead to do that, act on it. So the moment we get a thought, we should somehow withdraw the senses and reject that thought, any sense gratification. So that's Yamunacharya is teaching us. If not, we will be in trouble. So Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness is such a transcendently nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. So for Yamunacharya, he is saying that I don't even feel that taste. No, because he is saying that I will spit at the thought, such thought. And he also said that I have been enjoying in that rasa with Krishna. So for him, he is experiencing the higher taste. Vishaya vinivartande niraharasa dehina. He is already enjoying, he is already relishing the higher taste of Krishna consciousness of or bhakti. Then for him, anything material enjoyment is distasteful, not having any taste. So Prabhupada says, it is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. So a hungry man, if he is satisfied, then he will not be hankering again for food, correct? Because a pure devotee is already engaged in Krishna's service, is in thoughts of Krishna. He is having that higher taste. He or she will not be having any attraction for the lower taste, because he is completely satisfied. Maharaj Ambarish, giving the example of Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj has conquered a great yogi, Durvasa Muni, simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. So Ambarish Maharaj's Charitra comes in the 8th canto. So there also we have already, everybody knows this story. Ambarish Maharaj controlled his senses. He used his senses in Krishna service. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo vachamsi vaikunta gunanu varnane. There are beautiful verses wherein how Ambarish Maharaj used or engages his senses in the service of Krishna. He is using all his senses in the service of Krishna. That is what we also should do as a practicing devotee. We should try to follow in the footsteps of Ambarish Maharaj and other great devotees by engaging our senses in the service of Krishna somehow or the other. Engaging our mind in hearing more about Krishna, engaging our senses like gross sense, hands in the some service of Krishna, and engaging our all other senses in service of Krishna somehow. Then we will be able to control. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. That's what we can understand and study from these verses. Okay. So I am stopping here. So we did 3 verses today. So if you have any questions or comments or any reflections, you can share. Thank you.